everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a full face of new makeup. So as you guys know, I have been out sick, and so I'm so far behind on new releases, and I've had a box of new products sitting here in my beauty room that I felt like would be easier just to kind of combine some of them into one video. So, and I actually like doing these types of videos anyways. So we're going to be talking about the new foundation from Mercier, which today is not the first day I've worn it. I've worn it a few times. So I kind of give you guys my thoughts on that. And I'm also finally playing with the Love collection from Mcgrath. So I have the eyeshadow palette. This one is the Velvet Liaison. And I also have 3 of the liquid eyeshadows. I'm going to try them on, kind of give you guys my thoughts on that. And then I'm also wearing the Martini lashes from Risa and BK Beauty. So excited to show you guys how I've been wearing those. And then we have the new Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Bronzer. Lots to say about this. And then I have a new shade in the Too Faced Cloud Crush. This is the shade Candy Clouds. So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on that. And then I also have this new Kosas Vitamin Infused Skin Enhancer. And I bought this in the shade Radiate. And I have a lot to say about this. And then for the lip, I have one of the new velvet lipsticks from Fenty Beauty. This is a matte velvet lipstick in the shade Sweetheart. And then I also have this from Refy. This is the Lip Sculpt in the shade Rosewood. And I had a very interesting experience with this. Those are the products. We're going to get into it. Everything I use and discuss in today's video, I will link down in the description box down below. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. I have a lot sitting out here, so we're going to just jump into it. We're going to first start with foundation, and I have this new one from Mercier, the Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation. So I picked this up at Sephora. It retails for $48. I have worn it probably 2 or 3 times since I got it, so I kind of know how it wears and kind of my thoughts on it. So let's jump into the details really quick. So it is claiming to be a weightless foundation that blurs the line between makeup and skin with medium buildable coverage, waterproof wear, and up to 12 hours of fade-proof wear. So I actually picked up 2 shades in this foundation. I grabbed 4N1 Ginger, which is a medium with a neutral undertone, and I also grabbed 3WO Sandstone, which is light medium with a warm undertone. Now, this foundation actually comes in 30 shades, so let me show you guys what these shades look like. Now, I've actually been mixing them. If you use me as a shade reference, I know it's so annoying for people to like mix, but this is 3WO Sandstone, and this one right here is the 4N1 Ginger. This one is a little bit too dark for me, and this is a little too light. So that is the reason why I've been mixing them. A little bit of this foundation goes a very long way. You don't need very much of it, which is one reason why I'm happy that the pumps are quite small. I prefer to apply it with a brush because it does dry quite quickly. I'll put it on with a brush just to kind of get an even application. And then in that section, I'll go over top of it with a sponge to kind of push it into the skin and give it that skin-like finish. So I take the smallest amount and kind of buff it with the brush, and it just kind of seems to work better that way, where you're not like packing it on. It's not wet when you put it on, so it's not one of those foundations that feels wet to the touch, which is the reason why I feel like kind of taking your time and working it in and kind of buffing it into the skin is pretty much the best way to get the best application with this one. It is one that gives you pretty immediate coverage. Like, you don't have to work very hard to build up the coverage. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit on a sponge. Before I move on to the forehead, I'm going to move on to putting on a little bit on the sponge. I put on some fake tan on my face when I was sick just because I was so pale and I just wanted to feel like I had some color. And so I put fake tan on my face, which I normally don't do that. And now you can like see it up there on my hairline. It's washed off everywhere else but my hairline. Oh well, it is what it is. I have no shame in this game. By the way, I'm not really wearing a primer. This is going right over top of the skincare that I applied like 2 hours ago. If you get the right shade in this, this is one of those like undetectable foundations, just because it's not a creamy foundation and it doesn't need to dry. It dries upon application. And so if you get the right shade in this, this is a pretty undetectable foundation and it wears beautifully. It looks really, really pretty throughout the day. It doesn't get cakey. It doesn't cling. For me personally, it doesn't cling to dry patches. So if you're like me and your trouble area is like right here, like that's kind of where my texture is, like orange peel area, right? So like if you have wrinkles or orange peel, you have deep pores and stuff like that, this does kind of smooth out the texture, but you just don't want to put a lot in that area. It's kind of like, if you get it too thick over top, it might not wear in those places the best. But if you put on the right amount and you really push it into the skin, it's flawless. It looks really beautiful. Okay, so I'm done with the foundation. I'm gonna go off camera, do my brows, and I'll be right back. So I'm back. I put some of the Next Care tape on. I don't know if it's even. I keep thinking this side is not even, but anyway, okay. We're gonna move on to the eyes, and I have had this palette for a minute. I think I got this palette right around the time I got COVID. So this is the new Pat McGrath from the Love Collection. Because I'm so late to the game on this, I felt like it was just better for me to include it in this video. So I'm going to use this palette, which is the Velvet. It's the full matte palette right here. And then I have 3 of the liquid eyeshadows. So I have them here on the back of my hand. I was kind of playing with it before I come up back on camera. And the thing that I noticed like right off the bat is that this is a tricky formula because it dries so fast. Like as I was, like I put a swatch here, right? And then as I was using my finger to blend it out, it was like dry. So that's a little concerning, to be honest with you, because if they dry too quickly, right? And you haven't quite got it to the point where it's blended and you feel like it looks good, then you have to apply more. And with a liquid eyeshadow in particular, the more you apply, the more risks you run of it later on lifting or cracking or separating. So liquid eyeshadows are not the type of formula that you really want to layer too much. There's kind of that happy medium where you have enough on there, it is sparkly and looks good, but you also don't have too much on where it will completely separate or break away. I am completely attracted to this color. I have been since the jump. Like this was the color that I was most excited about. And I think this is called Platinum Bronze. Yeah, that is one gorgeous color. And so I think I'm going to start the eyeshadow look with this and then incorporate the mattes to kind of make it all blend together. So I'm going to use a brush because number one, I prefer using a brush over my finger because it's hard to apply stuff like this with long nails on. I think I'll use my Smith 253 to kind of spread it. And then I'm going to grab a stiff brush to blend it. Maybe, yeah, I'm going to use the BK Beauty 501 to kind of blend the edges. That worked. You just have to work quickly. So I don't know that I would call this formula user-friendly. It's just a formula that you got to really be kind of cautious of. Okay, I got too much on my brush. Now I'm going to go into the palette and I'm going to grab this shade on the bottom. I'm so excited to try this Velvet matte formula. So I have to admit, because that formula dries so quickly, I am glad that I put on the liquid eyeshadow first, just because I'm able to go in with an eyeshadow and buff out any of the harsh lines and make it look a little bit more smooth, because I think it just makes it that much easier to use at the end of the day. Right. And I'm gonna go into this shade. This velvet formula is really nice. It's not dry. So if you're familiar with Pat McGrath's matte shadows, oftentimes they can be quite dry. Not all of them, but there are. It's like a 50-50 thing. And these are exceptionally creamy. They have that velvet touch to them, and they're super easy to blend out. And I don't feel like they're dry like her traditional mattes can be. So I actually really like that formula. Let's see how these layer. So I was kind of thinking about taking the lighter shade of the three that I have, which is Divine Champagne. It's like a frosted pink, if you will. So I was thinking about maybe sticking it like right here. I don't know how that's gonna look, but just to kind of brighten up the inner corner a little bit. Okay, so I'm back. I went ahead and put some concealer on. So using that same pencil brush I was using before, I'm gonna go directly into the shade. That color is quite light in the pan, but it actually provides a nice transition shade. It really does. Like, it has a good color base to it, and it also builds really well on top of itself. So now I'm going to take a flat tip brush and go into that shade and focus that right here on the outer corner, kind of buffing it into the lashes. So as you guys know, I love to wear Lashify. I've pretty much been wearing Lashify since I went on vacation last year to Florida, and that was in May. And I am just in love with it. I love it. I love waking up with my lashes already on. So I'm wearing Lashify right now. I want a little bit of a lift on my lashes. I want to add a little bit of volume to this eyeshadow look. And that is when these come into play. These are new from Risa Does Makeup. She collaborated with BK Beauty. This is in the style of Martini. So as you'll notice, they are like corner lashes. And these are the perfect lashes to pair with Lashify. I've already done it. I've already worn them, and they're amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some glue on them. I'm just gonna use this one, and I'm just gonna take a tiny bit along the band, except that there's a hair on them from the last time I wore them. Okay, so I have it on. Now I'm just gonna add a little bit of mascara here in the front to kind of make them blend. Oh, Risa, I love these lashes, right? Like, this is before and this is after, and it just gave the eyes that lift with this dark eyeshadow look. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I put some mascara on the lower lashes, and we're gonna jump into the face. The eyes are done. Let's go ahead and move on to the face. So I have the new liquid bronzer from Laura Mercier. This is called the Tinted Moisturizer Bronzer. So this is similar to their Tinted Moisturizer blushes that they launched, I think, last year. Such a good formula. So when I saw this, I was like, ugh, I'm a sucker for liquid bronzers. I can't help it. So these retail for $30. Now, they don't have the best rating on Sephora's website, so I haven't used it. I have no idea how it works, but we're gonna try it out. It comes in 4 shades, and I picked up the shade 04 Sunlight. That's what it looks like blended. I'm gonna read a few of the negative reviews just so that I can kind of get an understand of what people don't like about it, right? So, love the color of Sunlight on my light skin tone, but it looks pretty patchy and makes all of the makeup I put on top look very patchy. Ooh, that's not good. And then we have another one that says, can't decide if I like this or not. It's very difficult to work with because how fast it dries down, literally seconds. That's a few of the reviews. My favorite way to apply the blush is to put a little bit on the back of my hand, put my brush down into the product, okay, so that I can get an even distribution on the brush and then apply. See if the method that I use to apply the blush that really works well for me will work with this new bronzer formula. Let's just give it a try. I'm gonna use this type of brush because this is my favorite type of brush to use with a liquid product anyway. So I'm gonna put a little bit here on the back of my hand, kind of dip it in. See, so now it's inside the brush in the bristles. It's definitely patchy. See right there? I can see what they're saying. I was kind of hoping that by applying it the way that I normally do the blush, it would work. But it is super patchy right there. Let's see if we can fix that. I don't know. I can see why people are like, this stinks. So I'm going to take the small, because this is like a double-ended brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit. Yeah, there's really no way of fixing this patchy spot. Oh, this is a hot freaking mess. Yes, this is bad. This is a bad bronzer. Do not buy this. This is bad, 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 bad. Let's try this side with a little less product. And I'm going to wipe the brush off and blend it. Wipe the brush and blend it. That actually worked a lot better. Still too finicky of a product. I might just have to wipe it off, you guys. I'm going to have to wipe this off. Like, this looks bad. It is so bad. Okay. All right. I am going to fix this and fix this situation. All right. I'm going to go off camera, fix this mess, and I'll come back and we'll move on to the blush. So I'll be right back. Let's move on to blush. Now, I have kind of fallen down the rabbit hole of loving that cool tone pink blush. So I went ahead and picked up this shade from Too Faced. These are the new Cloud Crush blushes, and I am obsessed with this color. So this is in the shade Candy Clouds. It is stunning, like so pretty on every level. It's so pretty. It kind of has that like baby pink look to it. Oh, I'm obsessed with it. It's so pretty. Is this formula not so pretty? Here's the thing that I also love about this formula is that it blends so beautifully and it's super buildable. Very long lasting. You can really work with it where it doesn't overtake the face. Like, you can get a little bit heavy-handed with it and you can calm down that heavy hand with some powder. So let's move on to highlighter. This is from Kosas. This is the first time I've opened it. I haven't used it. So this is called the Glow IV. It's a vitamin infused skin enhancer. So Kosas just recently launched these and it comes in 10 shades. I have the shade Radiate. You can use this pearly liquid layered under foundation or as a targeted highlighter, or you can mix it with your foundation or skincare. This doesn't have a very good rating. This has a 3.3 out of 5 star. And it doesn't seem like people are liking it because a lot of the reviews that I have read said that it's like it's a glittery mess. Like, it has way too much glitter. And see, like the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Falls filter, it's not glittery, right? Like, that formula is gorgeous. Let me get it. That formula is just a perfected formula, right? It has this like undetectable kind of effect on the skin. It has that pearlized pigment to it. This is in the shade 4.5 medium, by the way, in the Hollywood Falls filter. Yeah, there's a definite difference. So this is the Kosas. Yeah, it's quite strong. I don't know that I would want to apply this under foundation, but I'm going to put a little bit here on the tops of my cheek. And I like to use the middle finger because that has the most pressure to kind of push it into the skin. And then I'll take a lighter pressured finger, like the ring finger, and like blend it out. It's not going to give you that Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter look. This is more of a liquid highlighter. Let's move on to lips. So I have two new items. I recently picked this up. This is from Refy Beauty. I picked up the Lip Sculpt in the shade Rosewood. And I also grabbed one of the new Fenty Beauty liquid lips. So this is in the shade C-Sweet Heart. And it's such a beautiful kind of cool tone pink. It is a gorgeous shade. So this is the lip liner in Rosewood, and I actually think those two would go pretty together. Not planned. So I didn't plan the eye look based on the lip. I was just going to kind of go with it. But now I have used this a few times, and the thing that I will say about this is I do like using this all over the lip, like lining the lip and then filling it in, and then using the I didn't know what this was. So I thought this was going to be a gloss. So this is a product that's down inside the tub. And when I put it on, I was like, what the hell is that? Because I was expecting it was going to be gloss, and it's not. It mattifies. So it has this like kind of silky finish to it, and it kind of threw me for a loop because I really was not expecting it to feel that way. I'm gonna go ahead and line the lips. I'm gonna go in with this from Fenty Beauty, and I'm gonna wipe off the applicator because it seems like a little bit of this goes a long way. That is a very kind of pillowy, soft liquid lip. The more I keep looking at this Kosas, and as it's kind of setting on the skin, I don't really love it. I don't really love it. And the reason for that is if I turn my head right here, you can kind of see where that product is sitting. It doesn't really melt into the skin. It sets on top of the skin. There's a lot of liquid highlighters out there that look really natural and kind of melt into the skin. This one just kind of sets there. And especially if it's not all blended, you can just kind of see it. See right here, that line of demarcation. It's like just, I don't like that. So this is the final look using the full face of new products. Let's go ahead and jump into my final thoughts. I have a lot to say about each of the products that I used today. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm of course going to start with the foundation. I actually have really enjoyed this foundation the times that I have wore it. I have probably worn it for 10 to 12 hours, and I feel like it wears really pretty. I really liked the way that my makeup holds up. My oils do not break through on this foundation, and I think it's because it has that like dry texture to it, but it's also not drying on the skin. So it is a really pretty formula, and if you're someone who has dry skin, but you don't like super dewy foundation, you might like this one because I feel like it doesn't cling to dry patches, but it also looks good on the skin and it doesn't allow the oils to come through. So I actually really like the foundation. I would, on a scale from 1 to 5, I would probably give it like a 4, 4.5. I just really like it. It is really pretty. Moving on to the Pat McGrath products. So I'm going to continue to kind of play around with this palette. This was the first time I used it. I really like this Velvet Matte formula. And in my opinion, just based on the 2 shades, now I know that I only use 2 shades, right? So it's kind of hard to say, but based on using it today, I feel like this formula is better than her traditional mattes. And I felt like it was really easy to blend, no patchiness. It built up color really well, but also blended it really well. So I am going to continue to play with this and let you guys know in like a review update video, just because I only used 2 of the shades. But so far, I absolutely love this formula. So that's how I feel about the palette. The liquid eyeshadows, I just don't know that I love these. Because it's such a quick drying formula, I don't see it as being a super user-friendly formula. If you're new to the whole liquid eyeshadow game, these are gonna be hard to work with. My personal favorite that's user-friendly is the Lisa Eldridge liquid eyeshadows. Hers are really blendable and really beautiful, and they give you time to kind of blend them out, and you can blend them into the crease. I feel like that's probably the best user-friendly. In the liquid, I have a ton of cream eyeshadows that I love. One of them being one of my favorites is the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize, but that's the cream formula. As far as the liquid goes, if you were interested in these, I would pass on them and just get some from Lisa Eldridge. Now, as far as the eyelashes from Risa and BK Beauty, I absolutely love these corner lashes. Not the first time I've worn them this way, and I love them. Let's move on to the Laura Mercier bronzer. I think I pretty much tell you guys how I feel about this. Pass completely on this, you guys. This is a bad product. Not a good one. The blush, I think I've told you, this is one of my new favorites now. I absolutely love that blush. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Now this from Kosas, I don't like. I don't like it. To me, it's definitely a liquid highlighter. It's not a Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Falls filter where it's going to look good under foundation. I just cannot see that being the case. I'll continue to kind of play around with it and wear it under foundation and let you guys know how I feel about it. But just based on putting it on, I just can't see this being that flattering underneath foundation. I don't know. If any of you guys have this from Kosas, let us know in the comment section down below your experience with it, because we all have different experiences. And I'm curious if you all had the same experience I did with this. I do not like the way it looks on my face over top of my makeup. So maybe I might like it under makeup. I'm just not sure. But right now, I just don't like the way it looks, and it's not that flattering on the skin. And I would say it is quite glittery. It is. Let's talk about the lip liner and the liquid lipstick. So first of all, I'm going to get this out of the way. I actually really like this formula. It feels really comfortable. I don't really feel like it's transferring. I mean, maybe a little bit, like especially right here, right? Like that's where it transferred a little bit, but it feels pretty good. And I really like this shade. The shade is really pretty. So I like this. I do. This lip sculptor from Refy, let me say this. Like I mentioned, I had no idea what in the absolute hell this was. Like, I was not expecting it because let me show you over top of my lipstick what this looks like. It's a weird formula. It's meant to be like a lip conditioning, but matte. And when you put it on, you're like, wait, it feels weird. I can't explain what it feels like. I wish I could. I don't know that I'm fully in love with this. I know that so many people are absolutely loving this. Here's the thing. This is good and bad. So I can see why people like it, because it is kind of that conditioning lip treatment that makes your lips feel good, but it doesn't make them juicy, so it keeps them matte, which is a pretty rare find. I don't know that I've ever seen anything like this. Me personally, I haven't. I haven't seen anything like this that's a conditioning treatment on the lip, but it doesn't give any shine. I can see there being a need for this because it's so unique. It feels really nourishing, but it also feels a little weird. I think that takes some getting used to, just kind of the feeling of it on the lip, and like the feeling of it on your tongue. It feels a little weird, but I can see that there would be a need for this and probably people would really enjoy it. That's it. That's it for the video. So those are all the products. That's it for this video. Sound off down below. Have any of you guys tried any of the products that I used in today's video? And if you have, share with us in the comment section down below your experience. I'm so curious to hear your guys' thoughts on these products. They've been out for a minute. I know I'm late to the game. I'm so curious to hear your thoughts. So definitely sound off down below. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.